Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are, the 8th of December. We've got the coin roll hunt number 480, reveal number 480. This is a 1944 Philadelphia plastic tube draw. Hopefully this one will be a good one so we can get back started on this in a good way, right? Looks like I haven't done a reveal since the 23rd of October. That's been about a month and 2 weeks, so it's been a little over a month and a half, or about a month and a half since I've done a reveal, and I just want to let everyone know that they were missed when I wasn't doing that work, but I am extremely pleased in how Eric has picked up the ball on this and started doing these. Without him, this whole thing probably would have suffered much more greatly, and I'm glad that he was able to make everything great for everybody. So here I am back again. We've got this 1944 Philadelphia plastic tubed roll. I've not looked into the roll. The only thing I've checked on it is to make sure that the coins are all red uncirculated coins, and that there are 50 of them. Hello, Farm Dog, Malcolm, Eric, JM. We got Parviz and Coin Junkie here. Looks like I've only got 3 viewers now. I had 6 viewers logged not long ago. That's okay. We'll go ahead and get started on what we have here. I know we're a few minutes early, but better a few minutes early than a few minutes late, right? All right, here we go. Lots of double dies, both on the obverse and the reverse of 1944 Lincoln cents. So given that, it's going to be something we're going to want to look on both sides of every coin. Okay, this one has some spots on it, but it is, let's see, getting a little bit of choppiness in my lighting here. Let me see what I've got for lighting. Turn my lights down a little bit so that it works a little better. Let's see. It's probably something I should have done before, but I didn't realize these coins were going to be quite this bright. There we go. Oh, we're still on the first coin in the roll, so haven't really gotten anywhere yet for those who might just be joining. Let's see here. Okay, so it appears I have nothing on the obverse of this coin. Let's check out the reverse and see what happened on that side. Feels like a coon's age since I've done a reveal, Eric, so thanks to you and what you've done for this channel. This is very unusual looking. Look at that. It appears I may have doubling on the side of the E in America. That's different. What do you think about that, Eric? That's a interesting looking coin. I don't see any other marks like that around that would show me that would be a heavy gouge of any kind. Let's see. Let's get in real close to it. That definitely looks like it was hubbed in there like that. Look, you can even see what looks like doubling on the bottom of the E right here. Well, my thought about Class 8 is that Class 8 usually is right along the edge of the design. This would be probably a Class 4 to me. Hello, Jim. That's strange looking. Here's a little bit more, but this one looks more like a die scratch or something well placed on the A, but this thing on the E here, this definitely looks like hub doubling. I don't know, we're going to have to hold this out. Let Eric get a good look at it. It might be worth listing as a double die, at least until somebody can show us that it's not and why. Sometimes you do things for subtractive reasons, not for additive reasons. So I don't see anything else that looks doubled here, just that little bit in the E of America. And it's quite interesting, but I have seen coins before with one small spot that was actually doubled. So we'll take a look at, figure out what's going on with that. Whose is this anyway? This is Farm Dog's. What do you know? Farm Dog gets this nifty coin here. I don't quite know yet what to call it. It doesn't match anything I've seen before. Let's flip it up and see what the bottom of the E looks like over there. Give us a better look this way. Oh yeah, that is odd. That's definitely something. I don't know what, but it's definitely something. So that one belongs to Farm Dog. I'm going to put this one reverse out just to remind us that we're looking at the reverse on this one. And I'm going to put it in the special coin stack. And we're going to move on to coin number 2. This one goes to Parviz. Well, who knows? We may have a new double die there, and we may have something that we could find a lot of, right? That's a hopeful, right? Let me get it back to lighting for the rest of us. Turn the contrast down just a little bit on this. Give us less of a black. We don't quite need the blacks that we've got here. Turn the gain up a little bit more. Oh, there's my problem. I can turn my gamma down. And then turn the gain down. I had this set up to do photos of a special coin yesterday. Some of you might have already seen something published about it, but you're going to see a lot more published about it here in the near future. It has to do with a very special proof coin. It is a 1909 matte proof coin with a double die reverse, believe it or not. Now, a 1909 matte proof coin with a double die reverse, well, how scarce is that? Well, you'll have to read up on it, but we believe there were fewer than 200 of them minted. Fewer than 200 made, which means probably less than half of those exist today. So this one is a normal coin, so Parviz is going to get the first normal coin in the batch. This is coin number 2. Now coin number 3 is going to go to Yo-Man. Yo-Man go. Let's see what we have here. Yeah. No doubling there. What about the I? Now you always have to look at trust also on these, because there are some double dies known that show up mostly on trust back in this era. So I don't want to give you guys any false hope, but at the same time I don't want to miss anything. How would you add a premium to the 09? I'm really not sure. I would have to guess, I'd have to venture a guess that once it becomes something that is relatively well known among the crowd, that somebody will offer up a pretty penny to have a nice double die reverse on a proof 1909 Lincoln cent. Now this doesn't exist on the 09 VDBs, which are smaller in number than the 09 planes. This is an 09 plane. But you guys know how I've always called the first reverse used, the 1909 reverse, and then the second reverse used was what I called the 1910 reverse. Well, this is a reverse die that was hubbed with both designs. So you have what essentially boils down to being the later reverse over the earlier reverse. So that in itself is very strange and very scarce and very unusual, because the next oldest example of a class 3 design hub double die known, to me anyway, is a 1949S. 1949S, 40 more years on. 49S, there's 3 different dies known, where the 4 style came from 2 different working hubs. One was the style of 1948, the other was the style of 1949, which gives us a squared off 4 over a pointed 4. I already have an article written. I'm going to work on trying to put it into HTML form. I almost said it the British way because I've been watching videos of British people talking about HTML. And it's not HTML, it's HTML. So but I was going to put it in an HTML form, stick it on coppercoins.com, and put a link to it on Facebook and let people read about it. I'm also working on a YouTube video for this very channel. This is what I consider a very special coin. Now, the odd thing about it is that the double die was first observed on one of these coins. Oh, that's interesting. That is not damage. There is no raised metal around that crevasse. That was done in the minting chamber, so this is struck through. I'm not sure what, but it struck through. But this this coin to which I refer comes from a die that has been known to be a double die reverse since 2010. First studied by Kevin Flynn and Brian Wagner. The coin belonged to California dealer Charmy Harker. And why it was not listed as a double die at that time, I don't know. But it took a collector with a keen eye to purchase this coin. He was looking for the markers for the proof on this coin and couldn't find them. And ended up finding an article that Kevin and Brian wrote for PCGS back in 2010 that described the markers on this new proof die they had found. And he found that the markers listed matched his coin. So he contacted me, thinking I knew something about it. Well, I didn't. I had no idea. I had never seen the article on PCGS and don't know of it having been published anywhere else. So he sent the coin to me. I took photographs of the coin. I listed it on Copper Coins as a double die reverse. I wrote an article about it, profusely studied and examined all of the nitnoids about how many were probably made, about other coins from the same die pair, and I've published that information. Oof, this one's kind of spotty. I don't make them this way. I just take them out of the rolls. This one almost looks like it could turn into being a minor double die reverse. No. Okay, I'll give you guys... This is a very rare thing to happen, so I'm going to do a very rare action. Let's see if I can... locate it here real quick. I am going to allow you guys to take a quick look at this 1909 proof double die reverse live. How about that? Just because we're in the middle of things. See how thick that rim is? The rim is extremely thick and extremely crisp. All of the design features are very crisp. There's one of your markers right there. It is a die scratch going from the bottom right of the M of unum across and above the E of 1. The other die pair, the only other die pair that minted 1909 proof cents, does not have that scratch. And then we get into the doubling. Look here. Can you see that there are actually two different designs on this coin. You see right up here where you have what looks like a short T over a long T, and then you have a short E over a long E. Well, this is the 1909, or the first reverse, and then this is the second reverse. You can see it on the M of America. You can see it on the F of. But one of the places where you can see it very clearly that makes a big difference in what you're looking at is right here on the N of United. You know, if you know your coins, that the N of United on the 1909 came in both a style that had this very shallow pit in the N, where it was very shallow and almost equally lateral to one another, so they're almost straight across from one another. And then you have the other style that has the really long, sharp points on the inside of the N that are way off one another laterally. Well, this has both. So you can see both of them. Here's another one of your markers. There's a die scratch from the U to the N of Unum, or of United, of United. And if you look across here, see there's your TE again, and here is the word states. You can see the doubling on the S, T, and A of states, and you can also see it right up here on the T of states. You can see the doubling down here on the M and the E of America. And another place I found to be quite interesting where you can see the doubling is right up here on the CE of cent. Let me back out just a little bit on this, get it in frame, back out and get it focused, and show you that you have a notch in this corner down here with a little bit of an extra amount of quote-unquote metal in that area. But on the E, you can see it quite clearly on all three horizontal parts, but you can also see a cut right in here where the other E was actually narrower by a fair margin than the first E. And there's more of your markers. There's that odd curved die scratch going right from the center of the E, also a die scratch in the center, or in the lower center of the C. Another marker for this particular die is what looks like hub scratches outside the upper right wheat. This is not scratches on the coin. It is indented into the coin, but that means it would be raised on the die, which would be indented in the working hub. So I think they did something to clear up something on the working hub to create this series of lines that end up showing up on the coin. And then I will show you the other side, just because a lot of people have never seen a 1909 proof, especially under a microscope. So this is what it looks like. You got very sharp lettering. Let me back it out quite a bit more here. Give us a really good look at it. Yeah, that rim is crazy thick. It's also crazy square. It is extremely squared off. But your obverse markers include pretty much there's a couple of die scratches out here in front of the nose, but that unfortunately matches up pretty well with the other die where there were little scratches near the nose. They're not the same, but saying die scratches near the nose could be misleading. But one of your markers for the obverse of this one that shows up on almost every coin that you find of this particular die pair is that little horn-looking die gouge right on the left side of the T, right there. Right there. It actually extends up to the top of the T, but down here is where you're going to see it best. This is for all of you people who have a whole bunch of 1909 proofs laying around. You want to find out what you have. Took me a couple hours to go through my stack. No, I'm kidding. I don't even own one. Here's another die gouge coming off the N of United. And that is another marker for you to know in case you ever happen to run into a 1909 proof and you want to see whether or not you have the double die reverse or the other die pair. But this is a 1909 proof cent. This particular coin, I would probably go with a proof 65 red brown or a proof 64 red brown. I've seen grading all over the place from PCGS and NGC on these coins, so it's really kind of hard to tell exactly what they're going to say. Yes, this is only on the proof sand digger. This is specifically a proof die pair. And I'll go ahead and bust a little bit more of the secret. There were only 180 coins minted with this die pair. Of the 180 coins minted with this die pair, all 180 were minted on Christmas Eve, 1909. December 24th, 1909 is when these were minted. And I've got follow-up that doesn't prove it, but it certainly corroborates it. So, thanks to Sean J. Johnson for turning this coin in for me to take a good look at it and study it. I'm just about to mail it back to him because I've got everything I need. I've got all the photos I need. And so that's a nice little break, right? Well, coin number 8, Chris Hurley. Chris Hurley gets the next coin here. Let's go ahead and zoom in just a little bit because we're not trying to look at the macro view of a 1909 proof anymore. Got a 1944 here. And let me get my lighting situated again. Promise, no more shenanigans. No more shenanigans. No more monkeys jumping on the bed. Try to get us focused. There we go. And see what we have here. If we indeed have anything. Now you see this right here. Let me show you. See this little bit of doubling right here on the front of the nose, and then it goes up to the bridge of the nose and then up onto the forehead. This is what we have in the coin world determined to be some form of reduction lathe doubling. As the lathe, as it was going around and feeling the master to make its many copies, the little needle that feels the design as it's turning around like a record on a record player bounced. And when it bounced, it gave us this extra little line that is not hub doubling. It's not doubling really of any kind. It's just a part of the design that shows up on many coins of this era, everywhere from roughly 1940 through roughly 1955. Okay. I have not yet seen a second example of what we saw as a possible double die on our first coin today. But it's certainly worth looking. So you guys in this show will be the only ones that get to see this coin live. The actual video I'm creating about this coin, I'm using slideshow images. I'm not using the actual coin. Let's see. Looks like this one could be a minor class 6 double die obverse. The tail of the 9 looks quite a bit thicker than it should be. Could be a minor DDO. Let's go up and take a look at... Oh, yeah, for sure. You can especially tell when you look at the E in we. Here it is, the best I can show it to you right now without changing a bunch of lighting and everything. Here, hang on a second. Okay, you see how this little portion of it right here is curved? Like it's pulled on the outside edge, like pulling taffy. Looks like it's been pulled toward the rim. Same thing with the top of the T here. It looks like the corners have been pulled toward the rim. That is actually a distended hub double die. This one's quite minor, but it is there. You also generally will catch this on the outside of the IBE, sometimes the R of Liberty. You can see how the corners look like they've been pulled outward just a little bit. Looks like it's clay, and you're just grabbing it by the corner and pulling on it. And then of course, the ever famous fat tail on the 9 of the date. So that'll give us that as a nice little double die obverse. This one's for Eric. Okay, let's see. I need to just go to my regular. I'm going to have to do that. I'm just going to go to my regular little chip thing because it's too hard to slide around on this black piece of paper. There we go. Now I've got something I can use. Get it focused in right. All right. I'm using a different thing for the coin, the one I'm used to using, because the other one is a flat piece of paper and it's not working. This one is actually a piece of mat board and it's lifted just a little bit, so it's easier to grab the edges of and move around as I need to show the different details on the coin. So there's for Eric a double die obverse. I'm going to stick that on the pile of special coins and move on to coin number 10. Coin number 10 will be for Ant. I'm going to do one reveal tonight, one reveal tomorrow night, which will be a 1946 S roll. And then we will do the nickel proof pull Saturday evening. Saturday will be the nickel proof pull. This one could possibly be a very minor double die obverse, but because the tail of the 9 doesn't really show it, it's not something I would be interested in listing because, well, when you really draw the line right down to it, probably half of the coins you see have some small form of hub doubling. We have to end the madness somewhere. You want to buy it, Parvis, right? I know your address. I'll tell Sean. A typical 1909 proof in this condition would bring a price tag of somewhere north of $800 to $1,000. And this particular one, because it's from a rare die and is a double die reverse that is unlike most other double die reverses of that era, I'm going to venture a guess that its value would double to triple to someone who really wants one of these scarce dies. The only problem with that is that most of the surviving specimens are graded and are relatively easy to research. I went through the Heritage database and I went through the PCGS Coinfax data, looking at all of the images of all of the 1909 proofs I could find. And believe it or not, 1909 proof, I found 103 different coins. Of that 103 different coins, only 7 were the double die reverse. All the rest of them were the first die pair used. Most of the specimens of 1909 proof were delivered during the month of August. None at all were made in September, October, or November. This is an interesting little thing. That is raised, folks, on the coin. I do believe. Nah, it's not raised. Okay. It looked like it was raised there for a minute. This is from a counting wheel. A friction wheel that they use to count the coins. They again struck some proofs, 500 to be exact, on the 8th of December, and delivered those, and probably retired the die, the proof dies, because in December, you're finished, you're done, time to move on. Well, and then they realized they needed to make another 180 coins they didn't have, and they no longer had dies for them, so they had to quickly create a new set of dies to mint proofs with. They came up with a suitable pair of dies and minted 180 more coins on the 24th of December. Well, through working with my study and what Kevin Flynn had suggested was the case, turned out to be corroborated in the evidence that I found in my study, is that roughly 6.5 out of 100 coins will be the December 24th die. Proof sets go back to 1804, brother. Yeah, they go back to 1804. Proof coins have been made in the United States pretty much as far back as coins have been made in the United States. But the the moral to the story here is, once you get some information and you want to back up that information, you do your research and find out whether or not that information scientifically matches what your report shows. And 180 coins out of the roughly 2,300 mintage turns out to be about 6%. 6.5% or so. And you take 7 out of 103, and that again is 6.5%, 7%. So that supports the idea that all of the coins from this die pair were minted on December 24th, 1909, making this the only known coin that I know of that was minted so close to Christmas. So it becomes the Christmas proof. And one that, with relatively decent evidence, we can show was more likely than not minted at Christmas. Oh, there we go. There's a doubled I right there. I was just looking at the fact that we had a really nice marker, and I was hoping there'd be something that marker went with. I'll show you the marker here in just a couple of minutes. Let's get around on this. Check the rest of everything. Now, there's one marker. You have a concentric die scratch running all the way through the L of Liberty. But another nice little die gouge, anyway, is right there in front of the bow tie. A little spot right there in front of the bow tie. Right in the field. So this is a nice little doubled eyelid. It's close, but it's very well hubbed for crispy. Let's take a look at the reverse. And now the reverse is normal. Now, coin number 16. I spent a little more time on this roll than I had intended, but I did get started just a little bit early. Oof, this one's got spots. Yuck spots. Does not look like it's got enough to show me as a doubled eyelid. So I keep moving on. Nothing on Liberty. No doubling on the E of America. Nothing in e pluribus unum. We have a normal coin. Normal coin here for gross. Now number 17 goes to Eric. Coin number 17. Looking all around for anything that could show us this would be an unusual coin, and I don't see anything. Let's take a look at the reverse again. No doubling on that E. Alright, nothing anywhere else. We have another normal coin here. Let's take a look at the next one. Number 18. Paul. As I was telling everybody earlier in the broadcast, this will be my only reveal for today. And then I will do one reveal tomorrow, which will be the 1946S roll. And then we will do the nickel proof pull on Saturday evening. Sunday will be another auction. And then another auction coming on Wednesday after we have another reveal show on Monday. Busy, busy, busy. Oh, busy times. Taco John. Taco John comes up next. Taco John gets this 1944 Lincoln cent. And, well, as it would turn out, it looks to be normal so far. Oh. There is a little tiny doubled eyelid to the north right there. It's actually more to the east. I don't know if that's one we're going to be able to squeeze in as a listable die or not. It's very, very difficult to pictograph. I don't know. We'll have to give this one a shot, see what happens, and if it doesn't work out, then it's just going to be one of those too minor to list. But we'll give it a shot. We'll definitely give it a shot. Always try. Try everything. Try once and it doesn't work, try again. Try it until it costs you money. That's when you stop. Okay. That's for Taco John. So got a possible doubled eyelid there I'll stick in the special pile, just in case. Now for Otis. Otis comes up next with this coin. Very weakly struck there. See if it's weak across the bottom of the reverse. If it is, it could be a slightly tapered planchet. Maybe a little bit of weakness there, but not much. It's probably just a very slightly off-plumb die strike, which that's not really going to matter much. Just kind of a weak die strike. Got nothing on this one. A Didio wart. Here's one for Ant. Ant will get this coin. What is it? Looks like a normal 1944 Lincoln cent on the obverse. Let me check the back side. Nothing going on here either. So there's number 21. Up 22 now is Sereg. And Sir Egg's coin starts off running away from me. I'm still looking for it here. There we go. Okay, something else I see I want to talk to you about just a little bit. On earlier die state coins, this shows much better than on this later die state example. But do you see where the crosslets on the 4s appear to be doubled? Just a little bit. You got that little bit of doubling right there. And it actually comes up like this. And you've got a little tiny bit of doubling right up here and inside here. And then oftentimes the serifs on the bottom will also be doubled. The reason I say oftentimes is because this is a master die double. It is pretty well known. It's on most of the 1944 Lincoln cents of all different mints. And it is not anything special because it's on most coins minted that year. So you don't have to worry about it. But it does look like a little bit of doubling. In fact, I can even see a little bit up here on the top of the 4. Pretty much any doubling you see on the 4s is going to be master die doubling. Unless it's something quite a bit more extreme. You have to remember the process kind of took a little bit of a, we're going to say a hiatus from normal process during the World War II era because, pretty much everybody across the country was a substitute for somebody else who had gone to war. And I doubt the mint had any had any excuse from that. So I would say relatively likely that the people in the die shop creating the dies back during World War II were people who had been hired specifically to do that job as a wartime effort. And a lot of the coins from the World War II era are minted with I would say a lower amount of quality control than those well before or well after the war. And well before and well after meaning years before and years after. But if you think about it, a lot of your really interesting die varieties come during the World War II era. You have the 44 D over S Lincoln cents. You have the 42 over 41 dimes. You have the 1943 over 42 nickel. Some very interesting stuff happened during the war at the mint that did not happen nearly as much before or after the war. And I have to think some of that was due to, let's say, abbreviated quality control during the war effort. Especially since we're talking about minting steel pennies. I don't even know whose idea that was, but did they not understand that these coins would be rusted within a couple of years of being circulated? I mean, the steel pennies, they rusted quickly. It didn't take 50 years them sitting in a box to start rusting. They rusted almost immediately. Zinc wore off of them. The zinc was protecting them from rust. The zinc would wear off of them, then the coins would just rust up. That's right. Or rust up like leaving an old hammer out in the rain. All right, this marks halfway through the roll. I'm going to go with Malcolm here. Got a coin for Malcolm. And so far, spots in and around the eye, but we don't have anything there to speak of anyway. Nothing on the obverse. Let's check the reverse real quick. I'm looking for our doubled E again because that's a very interesting little coin. All right, nothing there. Well, I guess the the way it goes is if all of our mail delivery people had to leave today and not deliver mail for a year or more, and somebody had to jump in and start delivering mail, you and I could jump in there and start delivering mail, but it would take us quite a while to learn all the little things that they knew to do, not do, stay away from, to do, all that sort of thing. And it would take us a while. We'd make mistakes until we figured it out. And that was a problem with a lot of different companies, a lot of different the manufacturing lines and things like that back during World War II. There's nice concentric die scratching going on right there. Too bad this doesn't have anything for us to mark. But I think that became a rather typical thing during the war. Not a double die. This is actually a slightly flattened strike. But I don't think I'd go so far as to say that fools worked there. It wasn't necessarily that. It was that they just didn't know the process. And a number of things that some of the experienced people might have known to look for, it appears that the people at the mint at that point in time did not necessarily know to look for them or know to do what needed to be done. There was very likely a possibility anyway that orders for dies could have changed quickly, and it might have been during a time where emergency changes were made in how they created dies so that they could get them out on the presses and get them used making coins. And we ended up with dies that had both D's and S's on them, which was not a very normal thing. Reusing dies and reusing things like that and doing things that they were trying to save all they could to help the war effort, because our country was trying to save resources as much as possible, because resources are usually very heavily drained during wars. Wars are expensive. So there's a little bit of doubling right there on the bottom serif of the 4. That's part of your master die doubling for 1944. If you get one of a really nice early die state, very well hubbed design of an early die state, and you examine those 4s real closely, you can see 8 or 10 different little points of doubling in various areas on the 4s in the date. And that is all, every bit of it, master die doubling. Flat foots, okay. Gotcha. Taco John. Taco John coming up next. And for Taco John, we have, looks like another normal 1944. Oop, this one's definitely a double die lid. A little bit of doubling going on right there, right below the eye. Which would be a normal thing, however, for a double eyelid anyway, it'd be a normal thing for a double eyelid. However, it's not the same doubled eyelid that we've seen before, so this is a different die. A little bit of muck stuck in the die, which was causing those letters not to strike up very well. So number 29 goes into the special pile. And this is coin number 30. Now, this one's for penny hoarder. Oof. Well, Larry got a hold of this one. Larry got a hold of this one rather well. Let's see if we have anything on this. Got nothing there. This one is big enough to not call a BU coin. I would call it a red-brown coin. So, given that it is a red-brown coin, penny hoarder will get his money back on that one. That is $480. Number 30. I'll give him a credit to use on his next bill. There we go. Now number 31. Number 31 goes to Crispy. Let's see what Crispy gets here. It looks to me like a normal coin on the obverse. Let me flip it over and take a look at the reverse. And I've got nothing going on there. Yes, Ant. That is correct. From 48 to 49, that transition didn't go very smoothly. Of course, we've never found that on Philadelphia or Denver mint coins. We've only found it on San Francisco mint coins. And because we have a mint mark on there, we know that we have 3 different dies that made them. Next one up is for Mr. Fletcher. A little bit of a Larry, few spots intruding the obverse here. Let's check out the reverse and see what we see. Now, so far, only one example of many of our different die varieties. Something tells me that this roll could possibly have been put together from other rolls. Possibly. Now number 33, this one goes to Parviz. And Parviz it's an interesting little struck through a fiber right there. That's just a little sunk in area on the coin that doesn't have any raised metal around it. It doesn't even look like a scratch because a scratch would typically be straight. This is a little piece of wire or brush fiber or something sitting on the die when the coin was struck, and it got struck into the coin, then fell out. Well, that's interesting right there. How about a secondary bridge to the nose? Eric, what's going on here? That's the first of that I've ever seen, but it looks like there's a second bridge to the nose right there. Let's see if there's any extra hair or extra anything else. Looking around on here to see if there's anything to show us exactly what's happening. And I don't see anything. I don't see a secondary eye. Well, maybe I do. It could be measurably in about the same place. Here is what I'm seeing, a little dot right there. And then we have an extra bridge to your nose sticking out here. And if I turn it in the right direction, you can actually see kind of where it comes out, and then it loops back in just like this right here does. It's like there's a curve up here. So that appears to be hub doubling to me. That could very well be die polishing, as I do see some flatness in this area of the eye right here. A little bit of flatness that's raised from the normal design. So that could respond to us for some of what I'm seeing as a possible doubled bridge of the eyebrow. I don't see anything on the nose. I don't see anything under the chin that would match up with it. The front of the hair is a little too weak for me to tell much of anything. Let's hold this out, take a good look at it, and see what else we see on it, and see if there's anything that can definitely steer us in one direction or the other. Look at the reverse on this one now. Nothing doing. This one's for Parvez. Now number 34. Carl. Now, see, this one's toned a little bit. No, this one's actually not even... This one looks like it might have a little stacking wear on the very high points. Carl, I'm going to give you your money back and a credit on this. Also has a little bit of a Larry there on the obverse. So if this happens to be a double die reverse or anything to that effect, we're just going to chalk it up to experience and give it to Carl. Now the reverse doesn't look any better than the obverse. Alright, so this one is a red-ish coin, but it's not a red coin. So I'm going to write this one up for Carl. If you excuse me just a moment. Number 480, coin 34 for Carl. You'll see this come up on your next invoice as a credit for the amount of this coin. But you're also going to get the coin. So I'm basically just giving you the coin, but I'm going to credit you for the amount you spent on it too. That's kind of at my discretion, whatever I see as coins that I just don't believe are good enough quality to have sold. I just go ahead and give those away. It keeps my heart pure. I like having a pure heart. There ain't nothing else about me pure. I at least want to have a pure heart. I want to be thinking about you. Alright, this one was for Malcolm. Has nothing on it. 2 earthquakes strike western North Carolina within minutes. Brand new news. Just come across. This looks like it's south of... Yeah, it's in Hendersonville area, south of Asheville. Magnitude 2.7 quake around 10:23 p.m. That would have been yesterday. That was yesterday. Okay. So, we had a little bitty earthquake event here yesterday. How about that? All right, coin number 36 now. Coin number 36 for Parvez. See if we can get something good here. You know what? Seeing a few spots here and there, but I'm not seeing a die variety at all on this one. This one's toned on the reverse. Actually, pretty nice color on the reverse. But we have nothing there. Nothing there for Parvez. Let's do number 37 now. Klaus. I guess it's just a rash assumption on my part that that name is pronounced Klaus. I'm assuming it's pronounced like the German name. The only other thing I could imagine it being would be Klaus, because it's spelled like the Santa name. But I'm assuming his name is pronounced Klaus. He may or may not do it quite as Germanly as I do because, well, I lived around Germans for a long time and I had a friend named Klaus. Here's one for Sureg now. Sureg up next. Und ich kann Deutsch sprechen. There's another one of those. What do you know? We have a second coin of an unusual die that shows what appears could be an extra brow. It is raised. that big ditch around the nose kind of makes me wonder if it might be related in some form or fashion. It appears it could be. They could have had a doubled nose and carved it out or something. I don't have any idea. I'm just kind of throwing darts against the board and see what sticks. But it certainly looks different, unusual. Let's flip it over and take a look at the reverse. I'm pretty sure we have that same die pair again, and the other one didn't have anything on the reverse, and, well, this one doesn't either. So this one's just as normal as the other one on the reverse side. Let's take a look at coin number 39 now for JM. Coin number 39. And we have, turn out to be another normal 1944, aren't you? No, that one's got the very slight doubled eyelid. I have to check and see if we can get something like that listed, or if this one is not. If it's not already listed, I don't think we're going to do anything with it. But if it is already listed, we'll identify it for you before we send it to you. We have not yet found a second example of that very strange doubling on the inside of the E of America. All right, and this one's for JM. Now coin number 40. Farm Dog. Wouldn't this be weird? Farm Dog gets coin number 1 that had that weird thing. And then if this coin happens to be another one, I don't think it is, though. Looks like a different die. No, it is not. So what else is it? Anything? Bueller, Bueller, Bueller. No. Not very many people know that reference anymore. Can you believe that? We're old enough that the movies that we saw back in our day that had references for us, to the kids growing up now, might as well be Gone with the Wind or Casablanca, because heck, they don't watch the movies that we watched. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Risky Business, what's some other ones that came up for show back in the 80s? Moonstruck. I remember that one. It's a Cher movie. Legal Eagles. Well, what are some really good ones? Rain Man. There you go. Porky's, yeah. Police Academy. Blazing Saddles. Blazing Saddles. There is a movie that if you cleansed it for today's society, the movie would be about 5 minutes long. Blazing, blazing saddles. I like that movie. Yep, they'd have open credits and probably just a picture of the deputy sheriff riding a horse, and then closing credits. That's all they need. $43. Yo, man. Still looking for something of unusual characteristic that to put into the pile of weirdos. I think I might have seen. Yeah, I did. I saw a little spot on the D up there. I might have seen it. He almost has a Dali mustache. Almost. Salvador Dali. Oh, David Carradine. Kung Fu. Or what was that movie he was in? Easy Riders. Yeah. Easy Riders with one of my favorite actors, Jack Nicholson. Wasn't he in Easy Riders? I know he was in American Pie. Or I think he was. I don't know. The first 3 Scary Movies, but only the first 3? Oh, we're talking about a title, Scary Movies, I guess. I was going to say, there's been a few scary movies over time that I took quite a bit of fear in. They were The Exorcist, 1976. There's another one of our possible little pointed doubled eyelids there. And then A Ghost Story, I believe was 1982 or 83. Might have been a little after that. That was another one, A Ghost Story. Very scary movie. And of course, one of my favorites, Halloween. 1978, I believe it was. See, I liked Hooper. Oh, here's an ugly one. This one is indeed ugly. This one's going to Parviz. So, Parviz, I'm going to give you a credit off your next purchase for the cost of this coin. Please stand by while I write this down. Number 480. Coin number 45. Parviz. Batting left, playing in right field, Parviz. All right, this one's for Malcolm. It's coin number 46. Only got 5 coins left. This is the first out of those 5 coins. As soon as I get done with this, I have some more work to accomplish this evening, or hopefully. I'm actually finally starting to get somewhere with the future development of copper coins. I'm hoping to be able to either self-develop it or have someone help assist with the development of it in WordPress. I get somebody to help me with it. Probably a professional. This one could be one of our little... Now see, this one's got the ditch around the nose, but it doesn't show the double brow. So, it's not related. Yeah, the American Werewolf in London. That was another good one. Got nothing else showing on this one. That's for Yo Man. Now coin number 48. I got 3 left. Oh, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. One of my favorites. Nurse Ratched. Well, that's all we have. Wait a minute. Okay, that's a little die scratch there. I saw something that looked like it could have been a doubled Y. But that's actually, it looks like a die gouge or a scratch that kind of matches all the rest of them around it in angle. But it also matches the Y in angle. So, made it difficult to tell one way or the other what I was doing. Alright, let me try. see what we can see on the reverse of this coin. A little spot on the top of the left wheat. Other than that, normal coin. This one's for JM. Coin number 49 now. Carl. And Carl's coin. Somewhat spotty. Hope it doesn't get any worse. And did. Let's see if the reverse looks any better. It actually looks nice until you put it under the scope. Has just a bunch of little spots on it. Beverly Hills Cop. There you go. 48 Hours was another good one. Penny Hoarder. But going a little bit further back in time, how about the what was that football movie that had Rudy in it? Was it called Rudy? Was that the name of the movie? There's the little underweight kid that went to play for Notre Dame. To try to prove he was a football player. Now, only got one of those coins with that weird E on the reverse. And this is the 50th and final coin for Penny Hoarder. Yeah, that was Rudy. Okay. And that's what we have for tonight. I appreciate it, folks. Thank you very much for dropping by. Now, don't forget that we are going to have another reveal tomorrow with Eric, plus a reveal from me. We'll do it like we did today. Eric's will be later in the evening. Mine will be later in the evening. Did I say later both times? Eric's will be earlier than mine. There's all of our normal coins, and our abnormal coins are the ones that we are going to take a better look at. Number 39, 38, 33, 29, 19, 15, 9, and number 1. All right, folks, I appreciate it. You guys have a great night, and I will talk to you tomorrow.